Welcome to Dave's Take. Today we are talking about I.S.S, the newest sci-fi thriller. Tensions flare in the near future aboard the International Space Station as a conflict breaks out on Earth. So yeah, that's pretty much what the film's about. There's this International Space Station, and there's United States astronauts and Russian astronauts, and when they're looking down at Earth, they see World War III break out between United States and Russia. And yeah, it makes things pretty fucking awkward. But I gotta say, this might be one of those rare occasions where a concept is good and interesting enough to get people in seats, because I saw this trailer and knew nothing about the film, but the concept alone made me think this could be pretty fun. Unfortunately though, that is not the case for this film. I found this film boring and kind of a drag, which is a bummer because this film feels like wasted potential, because this idea could have been filled with fun and suspenseful sequences, and it felt like this film had nothing like that at all. I feel like this premise has some interesting ideas and concepts the film could have explored, but it just never does. It feels very surface level and very disappointing. But I think the film does an okay job at is setting up some of these characters. I think it's great that they keep things simple. They keep things quick. They don't really waste time in the first 10 to 15 minutes of this film. They give you a simple setup that I think works for the overall film moving forward. They waste no time and give quick backstories of certain characters, their relationships, where they're at, so you understand some of their motivations throughout the film. And throughout the film, there are some good ideas, and there's an attempt to subvert your expectations. But unfortunately, those are all the positives I can give, and a lot of this film didn't work for me. This film is very dialogue heavy. Now, if you would have told me that before I saw the film, I'd have been really excited. It sounds like it'd been a really smart psychological thriller. But I don't know, the dialogue here just didn't keep the film interesting, and that's why the film overall feels pretty boring and it's paced pretty poorly. This film is a little over 90 minutes. It definitely feels over 2 hours, and that is definitely a big issue. It's not just the dialogue is kind of boring, it just feels like nothing's going anywhere. There's some mystery throughout the film, but there are things that are revealed to you, so then it's not really a mystery anymore. There's a lot of things that are shown to us pretty early on and throughout the film that I felt like they should have waited till the end, because it takes away a lot of the intrigue and the mystery throughout the film. But then there's a lot of information not given to us because the film thinks it's being mysterious, but it's not. It's painfully obvious what's happening. It's really, do you think you were fooling anyone? There's some character development and motivations that get crossed and overall don't make much sense. And this ending to the film is so unsatisfying, and there's so many unanswered questions in a bad way that you look back on the whole entire experience and honestly it almost feels like a waste of time. I'm all for a film that doesn't answer all your questions and leaves the ending up to your own interpretation. There's a lot of great films that do that, but the great films know that balance, know when to end a film like that. Here, when you have your film build up to that point and just sort of end the film, it just feels so frustrating. And that's what the overall film feels like. It's frustrating because there is a really cool concept here, and there is some good setup, and I do think the performances are done well, and there's some parts of the film that I found somewhat interesting. But the film feels like it drags, it feels like it stays in one place and never really goes anywhere, and maybe that's what the overall problem is that it has a great concept, but that's about it. There's nothing more they can really do. I'm going to give I.S.S 5 Davey Daves. I was also shocked to see that this film was rated R. This movie could have easily been PG-13. If you're going to make a film like this rated R, I expect way more carnage. Not saying that's all the film needed, but I'm not going to lie, it would have elevated the experience a little bit, because this film does feel like wasted potential. So, I.S.S, let me know what you guys thought of it once you've seen it. I'm curious to hear, and thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more of Dave's Takes.